Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Spiritual Spotlight series. Today, I am joined by Kristen Pulver Kapusta. She is a certified Reiki master, a spiritual healer, psychic medium, an empath, a certified Ho'oponopono practitioner, and health coach. Kristen, thank you so much for being here. I am so excited you're here today.
Thank you for having me, Rachel.
So, what I love about Kristen's journey is that she describes her spiritual journey as being multi level. And what I'd like to start with is I kind of want to start with how you felt as a child, because I know it sounds like I feel like your empathic abilities are kind of what came to light first. So, tell us a little bit about how it was for you being an empath and also kind of opening up to other spiritual gifts. But let's start with being the empath and how did that affect you as a child going up into your adulthood?
So for as long as I can remember, as a child, I've just always been very sensitive to everybody else's emotions around me. And, people would be crying and I could feel inside
Um,
that pain, if it was a painful cry or a happy cry. I could always feel that. So, it was, everybody used to describe me as a very sensitive child, which some look at, in a negative light, or they can put that positive spin on it, which is
right.
what I ended up doing
Nice.
is, it's a very positive thing.
So being an empath as a child, was your family supportive of these increased sensitivities, or was it something like, oh, she's just sensitive?
It was more, she's just, oh, Kristen's just too sensitive. Like I said, they kind of put a negative spin on it. And for a while, that was the way that I felt like, oh, this is
Yeah.
a bad thing. And I didn't really understand what was happening to me.
So when you were kind of growing up and going for this empathic abilities, and then I know that is that what led you to this experience in 2004 that you had this profound spiritual experience?
I was actually looking for my soulmate at the time. So I read a book about how to attract your soulmate. And in the back of the book, there was a meditation. And I read through the meditation
Yeah.
and I had no idea what I was doing. I had never meditated before, but I lived alone. It was quiet. I thought, why not? So I walked myself through
Mhm.
this meditation in complete silence. And what happened next was the most amazing experience I've ever had. And I, at the time, didn't know, but I astral projected,
Yeah.
so my soul just kind of like lifted out of my body. And in the book, it said, not to be frightened when this experience starts to happen for you.
Wow.
So I tried, I really held that together during the beginning of this experience.
Yeah.
I saw my soul, if you would, kind of walking out of my bedroom down the stairs. And I kind of rounded the corner to keep exploring my downstairs as this light being. And I had a rabbit at the time, and I think it spooked him. So
I love that.
after it spooked him, it spooked me, and I
Oh,
kind of retreated back into myself.
yeah.
And then the meditation kind of furthered along, and I met both of my grandparents in, like this tunnel, like,
Yeah.
not to sound cliche, but some of the things that you see spiritual tunnels on TV and,
Right, right.
so I met with them, and it was the most overwhelming love. I was surrounded by spirit light being. It was just the most amazing experience of my life.
Wow.
Um, and I wanted to stay. I wanted to stay there. It was such a happy place and such a happy feeling. And they both told me, you can't stay with us. Your mission is not done. You need to go back and
Yeah.
finish what it is you're set out to do. So
Yeah.
That's
Wow. So that was
yeah.
back in 2004.
Yep.
And then after 2004, because I know that, like you're a psychic medium and you have all these other spiritual tools in your toolbox, how did you start developing those skills? So let's say the psychic medium first.
Well, yeah, I guess that kind of opened up the spiritual
Wow.
floodgates
How
after
could it
that.
not?
Yeah, yeah, and I had no idea why all of a sudden things were just like popping in my head, and these thoughts I knew were not mine, you know? And my mother's a nurse, so I'm like trying to tell her about it, and she's like, trying to debunk it to make sure that, I'm not crazy. She's
Yeah.
like, "Well, tell me a little bit more about this, you know?" But we realized that I was connecting to the divine. I
Yeah, of
I was I
course.
was definitely I was getting messages left and right, and it was a little nerve wracking because, I started actually feeling those who have passed over, in our lives, like my grandparents,
Yeah.
started sending me messages. And to really kind of hone in on that, I started doing spiritual development classes,
Okay.
actually with Kelly Ballard. And that kind of came to a close. And then I met uh, Tony Craft, the wonderful Tony Craft,
We all love Tony Craft.
during that, and started doing my Reiki learning then from that point.
What drew you to because being an empath and then taking spiritual development courses, so that's obviously honing on your psychic abilities, your mediumship abilities, but Reiki is an energy healing modality. So what
Mhm.
drew you to the energy healing world?
I think it's part because I was an empath.
Uh-huh.
So when I could already feel, the energy. I
Yeah.
could feel the energy radiating off of, human beings. I could just feel energy coming off of things. So
Yeah.
I thought, why not use that as a tool to help heal people? And, if I get any spiritual messages, then I can kind of hone in on, where they need the healing. And it was working for me,
I
and
love
it's
that.
great.
I love it when healers partner readings with healings because I find that work to be so cathartic for your clients, where it's like, okay, I'm going to work on this energy body, but also let's give you this loving, compassionate message. That way it's like when you leave the session with you, you're feeling more empowered, more ready to
Yeah.
kind of hit the ground running, which I'm sure that is what you do for a lot of your clients. Now, tell me more about I'm gonna mispronounce it. Yes, everyone, Kristen had to tell me how to say this word before I got on. I know what it is, but I don't know how to say it. So tell me, how did you actually let's take a step back. Tell me about, because I know you've gone through a massive transformation in the last year, maybe longer. Tell us a
Mhm.
little bit about that transformation and then what led you into the certified Ho'oponopono practitioner work.
Yeah. So during the pandemic,
Ugh.
obviously, it was a tough time for everybody. And being an empath, it's like, you've got to be
You
kidding
probably
me.
tapped into the collective grief of the planet.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it kind of like was disconnecting me,
yeah.
spiritually, and I really just needed to reconnect. So I went to see the wonderful Rachel Garrett, who awakened me again. And
My dog's all excited.
oh, I love him. So yeah, the readings that I was getting from you was exactly what I needed at that time in my life. And a lot of the things that I picked up in the readings that you gave me was, I had some healing work that I needed to do. And I remember a lot of times in our sessions, my weight, it was a heavy physical, emotional, spiritual way down for me.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to get rid of it
Mhm.
on all levels. So you and I had done a few, healing sessions, and I did a lot of work. I did
Yeah,
I
it's a
did a
lot of
lot
inner work.
of spiritual healing, journaling, and And that kind of led me to the Ho'oponopono.
And that is
So
powerful work. So tell us a little bit about that.
yeah, that is the most amazing thing. I
I'm so
found it
excited.
on the internet, and I had actually read it in an empath book first, and I was
Wow.
very, very drawn to it.
Yeah.
I think it was Judy Dyer's book that I read, Empath, and she talked about it, and I tried Googling it, and I wasn't getting a whole lot of information on
Mhm.
it. And then I found it, just popped up one day. You know, things don't just happen for a reason on Facebook. And I it started to subscribe to these development of
Yeah.
Ho'oponopono, and it's an ancient Hawaiian practice. So it originated there, and the originator, Dr. Hewlin, he was, I believe, he was a psychologist or a psychiatrist, and he was asked to go and work in a criminal mental facility, and he um, there was they had a high turnover of staff, so there was no they just couldn't get people there
Yeah. Yeah.
to work there. You know, it
Yeah.
was a very high energy turmoil, you know, place to be.
Mhm.
So they asked him to come, and he said, I will. He goes, but what I do, I don't see patients. So he took each patient file and he did what he calls cleaning. And that's a series of looking into yourself and the aspects of yourself that kind of are in each one of these patients. So he did a ritual of, I love you, I thank you, I'm sorry, please forgive me. Um, you know,
Yeah.
just it was like a mantra that he did every day. And he would sit with these patient files and he would go through this and activate this cleaning, what he calls, and bring it down to zero, kind of bring yourself down to zero. And one by one, over the course of 4 years, this man did this practice every day, all day. He healed every single one of those patients, and they ended up having to close the facility because there was nobody left.
Wow.
Then they closed the facility down. So, you know, that's when I just started, and I said, you know, I can do this. I can do this. I can heal my traumas from the past. I
Yeah.
can, you know, get past this and really let go of everything that I need to let go. So that's what I did for about a year. And they said it would take about a year for certain, you know, processes to really start to activate in you. And
Yeah.
I was just, a year, like, you know, I don't want to wait a year. But those good things come to those who wait, right? So I did my cleaning and I did my spiritual work, and
Yeah.
you know
That
that.
and that's and I bet now looking back, a year isn't that long of a period of time. Like to clear away all the trauma from your entire life, to get you down to zero, to where you
Yep.
can truly move forward and then experience this massive inner transformation. That's
Hmm.
profound. And the
Yeah.
fact that you were willing to do it. I think a lot of people, and I'm not sure about how you feel, it's making the decision to choose to heal yourself and to move forward and kind of start obtaining the life of your dreams.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
made that
Yep.
decision. Like, I do feel like there was like a switch that went on in you when you're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
enough.
Yes. Yeah. And that was all combined with, you know, starting a yoga practice,
Yeah.
a regular yoga practice with Kateri,
Uh-huh.
and I she was doing practicals for yoga therapy, and I had never heard of yoga therapy before, so it was free service that she was offering, and you know, I was one of her, you know, practice.
Wow.
And it basically is a series of, she gives you a series of things to do every single day. And that helps align, you know, the different aspects. I don't know everything. I know
Yeah.
there's, you know, different aspects of yourself.
Mhm.
There's Veda, Pitta, and there's one more, and I can't remember. But she gave me a series of things to do. And eventually she was like, I want you walking every day. I'm like, okay. So I just kept doing these things. And sure enough, I woke up one day and I was like, walking 2 or 3 days a week, that's not doing it for me. I need to, and I was walking every day. And I remember
Wow.
the day I walked by her house, and I remember the day she came running out of her house and she was like, "Oh my God." So I gave back, I think, a lot to her and
Mhm.
to the practice that she was learning,
Yeah.
seeing the results of what she was giving me. So
Wow. And
yeah.
now do you still practice yoga every day
I practice
or
yoga
some
when I
form of
when I can fit it in.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, when I can fit it in. But I mean the meditations I do, I try to get meditation in at least 10 minutes a day, if not
Wow.
more. So,
So do you feel like having a strong, like, spiritual centered practice has helped you unfold more of your spiritual gifts?
yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I
Yep.
love that. And then how was it hard for you to start to meditate? I like to ask this question only because I feel like we put a lot of stock in meditating, but it can be hard for others. Like I know for myself it can be difficult. Did you find yourself like having to like how did you get into meditating and how are you with it now?
Um, some days my mind, my busy mind and my quiet mind struggle. But I think the more routine you get
Yeah.
in, even if it's just 10 minutes a day, eventually, whether you're listening to something
Yeah.
and your brain switches on, okay, it's time to switch off, it's start a meditation practice, or
Yeah.
if it's just sitting quiet and staring at a white wall to
Mhm.
kind of get you in that space.
I love it.
So
And you're also a health coach. Can you tell us a little bit about being a health coach?
yeah, so I found a wonderful program because I got the spiritual side all lined up, and then I needed to find something that was going to physically work for me.
Yeah.
So I found the program Optavia, and my aunt had started with the program, and I was seeing her results, and I thought, well, she's got half my gene pool. It's got to work for me. I mean, what do I have to lose, by trying?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
I actually asked for a spiritual message the first couple of days of my journey into the program, and I said, "Okay, spirit, if this is going to work for me, I want to see immediate results on the scale." So within a day, I had lost 2 pounds, and I said, "That's it."
I
And it's
love
been
that. I love that.
guns blazing ever since.
Yeah.
So I'm down 87 pounds, and 2.5 weeks into the program, because it works with getting your mind healthy along with getting your body healthy.
Yeah.
It was just such the program for me. And 2.5 weeks, I became a health coach. I said, that's it. Where do I sign up to be a coach? And now I've got a nice little people, clientele
Team,
that
yeah.
I'm coaching.
I
So
love that 87 pounds. And the
yeah.
thing is, and I don't know about you, because I'm also somebody who I lost over 100 pounds. So you it's a different kind of feeling because I know you did a lot of spiritual work inner, and that's same thing with me. It was like almost like I had to fix what was inside of me before I could shed the
Absolutely.
outside of me.
Absolutely. Yeah.
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 And it is a very like I would imagine now also like the attitude of gratitude, that energy of joy and gratefulness. Like it's a different feeling now, I would imagine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
also
for sure.
just I don't know, there's something about like because I feel like for a lot of listeners, and maybe this is people that might struggle with, and definitely reach out to Kristen that she can be your health coach. Like there is a spiritual She's
My
showing us
water
her
glass.
water bottle. Please send one to my house. I'm just kidding. I have water bottle problem. Um, but no, like there is a component, and it doesn't have to be spiritual, but there is a component inside of yourself. Either there's a loop or there's something running where you don't feel good enough. There's something that has to kind of click in to release
Mhm.
to then be able to truly transform your
Yeah.
physical body.
Yeah. 100%. Yep.
Yeah. And I love the fact you're living proof of it. Like, and it's just amazing. Like, and I'm so excited for you. And then as you've been, helping people facilitate, have you seen your own clients going through these transformations as well?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's been amazing. And having the, I guess, ability, the spiritual abilities that I
yeah.
have, I kind of hone in on, okay, this is where this person is really
Yeah.
struggling. They're
Yeah, yeah,
struggling
yeah.
with that mind body
Yeah.
connection and changing their mind. And I work on that. Sometimes I sit and I clean that aspect, because that's what Ho'oponopono is.
Yeah.
It's cleaning that aspect of themselves in yourself.
Gotcha.
So say somebody's having that mind body, connection, that
Yeah.
or disconnect. And I just sit and I clean and I clean and clean. And then it's just amazing that all of a sudden my clients are like, hey, now I get it. Now I get it. And and I love it. I love it because they don't know really that I'm working on them, all the time. I'm sending them Reiki.
Yeah. Well,
Cleaning.
like you said, you're bringing in it's the mind, body, and spirit component
Hmm.
to
Yeah.
really have this profound transformation. I just think
Yeah.
that's fascinating. Now, tell me a little bit as a psychic medium. One of the questions I like to ask people is what kind of style of reader are you?
Uh, I guess primarily, and I think this happened when you were actually reading for me, that I was like, hello, I just have to tell you, I think there's a female coming in behind you. Don't mean to infringe on the reading you're giving me, but and you're like, it's probably my grandmother. So like that just kind of comes
Yeah.
as a natural part for
Oh, I
me.
love
And I
that.
don't know if it's because the original spiritual awakening for me, I was connected to both my grandparents that had
Oh, I love
passed
that.
or not, but it
Yeah.
seems to be something that just comes to me. So I've done some readings for people, who, they had no, they didn't know what happened to their loved one. And I
You were
kind
able
of,
to
they took
help
me
them.
they took me to their apartment, and they're like, is there anything here that they, need me or want me to take, those kinds of things.
Oh, I love
And,
that.
spirit gets very adamant. And there was a one reading that I was doing for someone, and I was like, no, I said, there is something in a drawer or in something, some kind of container, this object, it's fairly religious object. They want you to have it. I was very specific, and she'd be like, well, what about in this room? And I said, go back in the other room.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I love
yeah.
did they find it?
They did find it. They did find it. Yeah. I started first reading actually for a guy who had had cancer, and I sending him an email, and I'm at work, and all of a sudden, like, the guy's dad comes in, and I was like, listen, I know this is going to sound strange, and I'm sending him an email. I was like, but I'm putting this all out there, and here it is. And I said, I got this guy coming in. This is his name. I'm a medium. This is what he's saying. I just needed to pass this message on to you. And from then,
More and
it
more
just,
came.
yeah, yeah, it just grew. I mean, he was my, my best, my best experience, I would say.
Oh, I
And
love
and
that.
then I since have branched out to, some of his family members, and connect with them a lot. So
Do you find yourself still astral traveling from that 2004 experience? Do you set the intention to astral travel, or is it something that just happens?
I have tried. I think it's more, I got kids running around the house, and there's just
Not
not
quite enough.
that quiet enough,
Yeah,
place. I've come very, very close to,
gotcha.
I can feel the uplift. And then it just, I don't know if the busy mind just comes back in, but
Yeah,
it just comes, it hasn't quite gone to that place again. But
gotcha. Now,
I keep
being a
trying to get back.
mom, you'll get there. You'll be like, girl, I'm gonna do it tonight.
Yeah.
Now, being a mom, do you find that your kids have empathic abilities and are more sensitive? And how are you helping them through this journey?
Yeah, my older son is a complete empath. We watch the show 911. I
Oh
don't
my
know if you've
gosh.
ever seen it, but the two of us sit on the couch next to each other, and so when something is happening to somebody on the show,
Yeah.
like they get impaled by something in the forehead, and the two of us are like this,
Oh
and
my gosh.
or we're like, oh, so we really, I mean, you could see it. My husband sees the two of us really, uh,
Sensitive to
just
it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and that's just on a TV show. That's not
Yeah.
even
Real. Yeah.
yeah.
It's interesting. This is gonna make you laugh. As being an empathic person myself, I don't feel it. I always feel it in the bottom of my butt. I'm sorry, that sounds really inappropriate, but it's like the bottom of my legs, like, and I'm like, I was like, oh, like it's the
Where
weirdest feeling.
Wherever you feel it.
Oh, I hate it. I have to tell you, I am sorry. I hate it so much because I'm always like, oh.
I love that.
Sorry, listeners. I apologize for my inappropriateness, but I just want you to know that you can get empathic feelings anywhere in your body.
Yeah. That is true. That is true.
So being
My
that, oh, go ahead.
my younger son
Yeah,
also is he communicates from a very young age.
yeah,
As a baby, he was telepathically communicating with me.
uh-huh.
Um, so him and I are very spiritually in tune with one another. So they're both, they both, it's like they divided, my aspects, kind of in half. So one's the empath, and then one kind of is more on that, psychic spiritual frequency with me.
Nice. I love that. And I love the fact that you're able to kind of guide them through this journey. Like you were able to get the tools in place, but now because I'm not sure if this is how you feel, but I do feel like a lot of kids right now are awakening. There's a lot of people that are going through the spiritual awakening process and kind of opening up. And it's definitely yeah, I love the fact you're able to kind of hone in on that and help them through it because that's what
Yeah.
we need to do as parents and also just as, healers ourselves, we need to kind of extend a hand to help others,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
which I'm sure that's probably also goes along with your health coach journey as well.
Yep. 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 For
And then
sure.
so right now it sounds like you have like a complete package to offer people. Are people able to reach out to you to kind of book you as a health coach and kind of get this really comprehensive spiritual tool package along with transforming your life?
Yeah, yeah. I actually kind of got some messages from Spirit the other day on,
Nice.
starting to do some spiritual consultations
I
for
love
weight
that.
loss.
Oh, I
So,
love that.
yeah.
Oh, I love that. And what is the best way for somebody to book with you?
I would say reach out to me on Facebook.
Okay.
So Kristen Pulver Kapusta,
Okay.
on Facebook
And
is
just send you an
probably,
instant message.
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
perfect.
yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
And then I have a couple follow-up questions. What is any type of advice you would give to somebody who maybe was feeling like you were before you started this like transformational journey? What advice would you give to them now?
Um, I guess to, just kind of take some meditation steps and see if you can kind of hone in on where your readiness is.
Oh, I like that.
Because we have to be ready for a transformation, a mind, body, soul, spirit, everything, but
Mhm.
in order to kind of embrace that. So I guess readiness is the thing that I'm thinking of off the top of my head.
I love that. I like that where you are in your readiness journey. And
Yeah.
there is definitely a switch that goes on inside of you when you're like, okay, I'm ready to start getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because
Yeah.
like you did, you had to look at the aspects of yourself and also go through we have to sift through some trauma and some things that we've gone through in our life to kind of, like you said, to clean it away, to kind of move the energy along, and then it's like this physical transformation happens along with it, which is a it's a beautiful side effect, like, which
Yeah.
I truly love. Anything else you would like to impart on listeners before we wrap up this amazing interview?
I guess kind of like go with whatever, kind of moves you and feels right for you at the time.
Mhm,
I'd really love to encourage people to reach out to me,
mhm.
to help them on their journey. That's what I believe,
Yeah,
my grandparents were talking about, is that things were I have a purpose here, and now it's kind of all coming together for me, and I understand, how to connect all of the dots and
yeah.
how to put this all together for people, and I want to help heal the world, and I can do that now.
I love that. I love that. One of the energy modalities that I'm certified in is heal one heart at a time.
I
That's
love,
that's
yeah.
yeah, that's their logo. Heal one heart at a time. So I would like to thank you so much for coming on this spiritual spotlight series. You are amazing. And I would encourage anyone that is looking to make a transformation spiritually, physically, doesn't matter, definitely reach out to Kristen. And I thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you.